Hey everyone, it's Frederick Kramer here, and in this video I'm going to show you what you can do when other people waste your time and how to stop that, which refers especially to SMMA clients, but obviously also VAs, your staff, other people that you might be working with. When you have more time, you can make more money, and that's probably your goal when you're watching this video. My name is Frederick Kramer, and I'm on a mission to revolutionize productivity by helping agency owners double, triple, or quadruple the speed at which they get rich. When other people waste your time, they keep you from doing exactly that. So let's get right into that. First of all, when do people actually waste your time, right? There are lots of factors when people waste each other's time, and I'm going to quickly go through like the most important ones. And the first one is communication, right? Our brain, like within our brain, communication works within light speed, lightning speed. Like it's very, very quickly, right? When you think about something, you can react immediately, right? When you see something, it takes like 0.2 seconds or something and you react. But with other people, for example, sharing ideas or skills is a lot more complicated. And communication is slowing people down. So for example, when you want to show somebody something and you need to go on a call for that, and then you do something, then you need to set that up, then I don't know, somebody else is messaging you, then you start talking about something, then they can't see your screen. You know, communication just wastes a lot of time, and communication can actually be made a lot more effective. And yeah, sure, in some instances, calls are actually quite practical when you want to talk to other people in your team and everything. But this can lead to insane micromanagement, right? And micromanagement is obviously like the more micro it is, the more you have to do, and the more it's just wasting your time. And the way you can get around communication is by like one thing that I'm going to mention later. But first of all, you probably know Loom. So every single time where somebody needs an explanation, just do it with Loom instead of going on a call with them, because it's just more complicated. You both have to find a time. Loom, very simple. You probably know the software already. Just as a quick reminder that you could use it a lot more often than you maybe think. That's that. And then when referring to communication, what I do personally is, if it is not completely necessary that I can reply to them within the same day, I just check my messages once per day, and that's it. And when it comes to my emails, sometimes I look like through them when I have to check something anyway, that I might be seeing them. But if something isn't like due immediately for some reason, then I'll just wait like a couple of days or something, right? And once per day, when you're doing this, then you can really focus and quickly go into this like managing mode where you can see, okay, what's going on here, and then you can just plan it in for the next day that you have to record some looms to explain other people something, which is like usually communication can be just done via video, and you maybe have to think about what questions these people might have, and then just answer these questions immediately in the loom video, because then it's just you and not other people distracting you as well, because you yourself are a distraction for yourself enough. Your brain is coming up with thousands of thoughts every single hour, maybe even more than that, probably. Right? You don't need another person to interrupt you or like ask questions in between, and then you get out of focus and stuff. So that's that. And when you do this in the evening, then your sort of brain points don't get used up, and you can there's no like task to be interrupted, and therefore like during the rest of the day, when you don't check your messages and you also have your notifications off, it's just not going to happen that other people waste your time, because the biggest waste of time is actually you not working with 100% focus after someone interrupted you, right? Because when you get into focus, it's something like that, and maybe after like, I don't know, like 30 minutes or something, you're in this like focused state, and once you get interrupted for like a minute or something, you just get out of that, right? And then you need to work like another 30 minutes or something to get into this full focus state again. And chances are, when you're watching this video, that it's not that likely that you frequently have more than 30 minutes without someone sending you like a message or something and you getting notifications, right? And these 30 minutes, the difference between sort of, if you imagine like this being like the x-axis, like the zero, the area between this graph and this is what you get done, right? And when you have focus immediately, because you just didn't get interrupted, then you have like twice as much or something. And it's not about the 5 minutes that something is going to take. The problem is rather that your focus is being interrupted, right? So that's communication. These are like the two things, the two most important things. And if you have to communicate with people frequently, you can just do calls. but you also have to set like an agenda for the calls very strictly to say, okay, we're just going to talk about that. We're not going to give ourselves more than like 30 minutes for this call. And if you have many people where you need to do that frequently for some reason, then just put all of the calls into one day and then of the week, and then on the other days you don't need to do such work, and the calls don't interrupt you too much with the actual deep work that you need to do where you're just alone and you need to focus, right? So that is that. And then the second thing is slow or dishonest people. So this is referring to VAs. I used to have some VAs, and obviously like some of them are better, some of them are not. But when a VA is not doing the job properly, then you're fucked, essentially, right? You have to do everything yourself. You have to look over their back. You have to do, essentially you just have to do everything yourself, even though you pay them. And like slow people or dishonest people just waste your time. Slow means that they just take very long to do something, which can be okay, right? Like for some people don't have too much of an influence over that, but I'm going to explain something in a second how to fix that. And then the other thing is dishonest people, right? So if you tell someone, okay, like do it quicker, and then the person's saying, yeah, I'm going to do quicker, and then they don't do it, it's probably just a shit employee, right? And a way to fix this without firing everyone and just taking like ages to find people is simply incentive structures. You might have heard of that before. Incentive structure means, like, classic example of incentive structure is just pay on results. So if you, for example, have an appointment setter, then you just pay them per call. I used to set appointments for other clients as well in the past, and I just worked all the time, right? I wasn't wasting anything, and when you do pay on results, it's a lot easier. Obviously, this doesn't work everywhere, because in some cases, having a base salary is just going to make the person a bit like more relaxed, because in some cases they don't have like a direct influence on what is going to happen, which could be, for example, when you have an appointment setter, you might not just want to pay them like a certain percentage of the client revenue. You maybe just want to pay them per call, because the appointment setter doesn't have too much of an influence whether an appointment is being closed, and that is rather the sales rep, right? So you need to be a bit careful with that. But if you give someone an incentive where how quickly they work is directly proportional to how much they make, then the people are going to be careful and be quickly like acting and stuff like that. Which is also a different example of that is when you have clients. When you have a guarantee, you can make your guarantee a bit bolder than you have it right now, and then just give them conditions. And if these conditions aren't fulfilled by the clients, meaning they haven't worked with you seriously enough, maybe they showed up late to some coaching calls or whatever you're doing, or they didn't provide any details early enough, they answered, like replied within like 5 days or something on average. If they behave like that, and then they don't match the condition, and then you don't need to give them the guarantee, right? And if you tell them about that, which you obviously should, because otherwise it's a bit of scamming, then they know, okay, shit, I have to take this seriously. And especially if they paid you more money before that, your clients are going to be better anyway. So yeah, charging more money is always a good thing to do if you want to have less headache clients that waste your time. So yeah, as a quick recap for the second thing, just make sure that you have incentive structures. And if you see, like in the best case, like for every person in your business, right? And as soon as you see that someone is just repeatedly not holding their word and they break their word, then you might as well just find a different person, because it's not worth it, right? So that's that. And exactly, you want to have core values for your company, and when people don't really agree with your core values, or they don't really understand them, then they might do some mistakes, or when they just don't know them, right? And you want to have very specific core values, like, for example, honesty. And if someone is saying, okay, I can't do this, this isn't working, then you just know about that, right? And maybe this is a bit too political, but for example, in China, a lot of people, when something is going wrong somewhere, they just don't tell like other people, because in China, like when you do something wrong to an extent, to a certain extent, you're just going to get killed, or you lose like social credit and everything, which is quite terrible, honestly. Like, I'm very grateful for not living there, but for that reason, like, important errors are not reported, and nobody's finding out about them, because people are getting punished for reporting that, right? So it's essentially culture of promoting dishonesty, and every single time where where people are trying to have like a very positive environment where everybody is happy, dishonesty is indirectly like gratified, right? Because people are not going to talk about negative stuff, which is always going to happen in some way. And if negative stuff is not being looked at, then it's not going to be removed by somebody, right? And like dishonesty could be one of that. When you have like calls, you like a core value could be that everybody should be punctual and on time, which is obviously quite good. And yeah, there are other core values like hard work. Honestly, is very like vague. You know, being honest is a lot easier to state. And another core value might be focus, right? So when you have people that you're working with and they understand that focusing only works when people are not interrupted from your work, because focus is the literal opposite of distraction, right, and interruption. If people really understand, okay, focus can, like the average focus level, which is the case by the way, is like 1 as an arbitrary number, and the focus level that someone could be at would be like 10 or maybe even 20, right? Like you can get so much out of focus, it's not even funny anymore. And I'm certainly not like at 100% capacity of my focus or something. But if people really see like the power of focus and see, okay, I cannot interrupt anybody. I'm myself am working so much better when I'm not doing like 20,000 things at once and my brain points are just going into one thing at a time. If people really understand that, then they're not going to waste your time, and they're not going to interrupt you with something, right? And yeah, it's like same thing with not being punctual. This is obviously also going to disrupt the daily schedule of a person, and it's just going to lead to more chaos, right? And you just want to take like a few minutes and make a Loom video, if you haven't done that yet, to just share your core values with the people in your company. Because if they have other core values and they think, okay, no, I just need to, for example, like maybe they think, okay, I don't know something, I gotta ask him, and then they always ask you like questions about little things. One of the core values could be that people should try to figure out things for themselves, right? And obviously sometimes that isn't possible. For a lot of things, in fact, it's not possible. But if someone is asking you like, how does this payment processor work? It's like some technical questions, literally ChatGPT can tell you that in 99% of the cases, right? So this could be another core value, and you just want to think of like core values, like the ones I already talked about, but maybe you come up with more of them that will just make your company thrive in that sense and give a better climate there. And obviously, these values can also not only like from you to the people that you pay, but also to the people that you're servicing or whatever you offer people, right? If you tell them that, like, I'm only going to give you the best results if I can work without interruption, and they understand that, then nothing is going to happen there, right? And if like they should understand, honestly, if they pay you like a high ticket price. If you sell something for like $50 a month or something, then you shouldn't be wondering if your clients are just not going to agree with your core values or something. Yeah, but it's going to save you a lot of time. And another example of where time is being wasted is just no-shows, right? You go to call, person doesn't show up, you call them, they don't react, you send them follow-ups. Well, follow-ups are actually not a waste of time at all, right? Because it's just like sending like a couple of words to people that you already found, to leads. But people not showing up on calls could also be like it's very, very small compared to the other things, right? But when somebody's not showing up, you're just going to leave the call after 10 minutes and you're just going to find something else to do in the time where you planned the call and just do that instead in that time. And that is exactly the next thing that I wanted to talk about. These are a few things that I just explained, the points, and I also showed you how to prevent them from happening in the first place. But obviously this is not going to work 100% of the time, right? Sometimes you still need to wait for somebody to finish something, and without that, one of the main projects, which would be your client delivery or something, can't go on. And then you need to think, okay, well, what do I do now, right? And one thing, when you have to wait for somebody, do not ever wait officially, right? Just wait. But waiting isn't a real task, right? Usually when you do something, you shouldn't be doing another thing at the same time because it's just multitasking. But if you have, like, waiting is not a task. You could just do something else whilst you're waiting, especially when you're waiting for a longer time, right? Everybody can wait for like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes. And for that time, I wouldn't suggest you do anything. Just relax. The gift of the universe that for some minutes of the day you can just do nothing. Just make your brain like collect all the information that it just got like in the last 2 hours or 3 hours, and just stay there and wait. But if it's more than 10 minutes, obviously you don't want your time to be wasted by that. So just search for another thing. There's always something that you can do, some little task maybe that someone talked about. Maybe you can record a loom like I just talked about for your clients, like some stuff there. You can just do like little things as soon as something is happening, and sometimes they don't even need to be like little things. You might just work on a different product. For example, if I get a no-show on a call, then I can just do the remaining time to do outreach or something, right? Pretty straightforward, but for some reason people don't get this like all the time, and yeah, like for some reason people don't naturally do this all the time. But you need to have a level of impatience where you're like, okay, what I just wanted to do originally is not happening anymore, but I can't do nothing, so I need to do something else. And then you find something else, and then you just do it, right? Because like this is going to keep you productive, and that's going to make sure that you're just not getting slowed down, because when you can't walk here, you're just going to walk here, and you do something else, and then later on you could go back and finish that. And obviously this requires some flexibility from you, but just be flexible, right? When it's not wasting like 15 minutes or something from your day. Yeah, that's that. Another thing could be like a software that's called Trello. So you can have like Trello boards with like certain tasks, and you can move them like from person to person and something. You maybe know Trello. There are a lot of people that will make videos on YouTube. In case you don't know that yet, check that out. If you have like a team, right, and you're working on projects with them, instead of just messaging each other all the time, and even like sending looms, which will still waste your time, you can just like move things from A to B, and like move a certain task to a certain person, and then just make a quick description, and then they can see that live, right, on their screen in their time when they can look at that. And you don't need to send a link, you don't need to delete the loom afterwards, because you don't want to have, it's very, very simple to do. And yeah, the next thing is really just staff quality, right? If you try this incentive structures, and I already talked about this for some part, if you try that and people still waste your time, like I said, these people are just not worth like working with. Same thing with clients. I probably dropped like at the beginning when I did like copywriting in the past. You might call this copywriting, growth operating, done for you, YouTube agency management, whatever. I help people, book more calls from YouTube. When I work with them, then like sometimes people are just not that great, right? And they want to do certain things that they're just not going to work, and like you can't really talk to them because they think they're like smart or something, because they didn't pay you like $5,000 for your service and less than that. Just drop your fucking clients, right? Drop the clients that don't make you a lot of money, or like less money than the other clients at least. And if you have a client that you cannot properly work with, then just drop the client. Or obviously, first of all, make sure that you're not the problem, but actually the client. Then like pricing is one way to improve that, but you need to show the people the value that you like. As soon as you're working with somebody, you still need to persuade them that doing certain things is going to be important. You cannot get around that too much. Authority is obviously going to help you a lot with that. It's a big point of leverage. But if you have like shit clients, just remove them, right? Staff quality, it's the exact same thing. Like if you have somebody who's just not doing the work properly, like for most of the roles in your business, there will be thousands of people who will just happily do that, right? So it could be a copywriter that you might be looking for. It could be like an appointment setter. There are thousands, if not like hundreds of thousands of people who want to do appointment setting or something, and you can just find another person instead. Yeah, that is staff quality. And the next one is pillars. So I used to have like one client at a time for appointment setting, because I thought like, yeah, when I build the system, then I can just have like one system for one client. And if I scale like one system, it's going to make me as much money as if I had like two systems and scale them like halfway, right? So, and building a system is a lot more complex than just scaling the system when you see that it is working, right? So I decided, okay, I'm going to focus on one client. Big mistake. right? Because the client just dropped me or ghosted me for like some days. And when you don't have the client to pay you the money, then you're fucked, right? So you always need to have like maybe like 2-3 clients at a time, and like obviously you want to have as many clients as possible, right? But the same thing goes like for roles in your team. Sales manager could be difficult because you maybe just want to have like one sales manager, but you will still have like multiple sales reps maybe, and one of them could be like the next sales manager. You always want to have like an abundance, and whenever like one thing isn't working, you can quickly replace that. Like obviously I don't want to objectify like people working in a company, right? But if a part of the business isn't working properly, you want to be able to replace the part as quickly as possible, provided that your business is really standing on that part and it's not something more trivial, right? I hope that made sense. Yeah, it makes sense. And the last thing about this is your personality, right? It has to be you, because you need to be consequent. I already talked about this in a past video. When it's just logic, right? If something happens, or like let's say you want to get to A, right? And in order to get to A, B needs to happen. But if B doesn't happen, then you don't get to A, right? And your priority in business is to make more money probably, or to help more people like at a certain point, which is usually quite proportionate to making more money, provided you don't scam people. Do you get the point? If you want to, if that is your goal, and you have, let's say you have like a friend and you're working together with your friend, but your friend is, like deep down, that person's actually slowing you down a little bit because you have to micromanage them. They don't know that much stuff. They don't take the entire thing so seriously. You need to be able to be disagreeable, right? You don't want to make your friend happy, or obviously to a certain degree you do, but if you had to decide for one thing, you don't want to make your friend happy. You want to go to the business goal that you have, right? If you just want to have like a happy group of friends, then you might as well go to a 9-to-5 job and meet them every evening and drink beer with them. But probably you want to get somewhere, right? And if you want to get somewhere and you have like one person in your company that is really like doing a bad job maybe, or not as good as you want that to, and you know that they can change that, then you need to go to them and tell them about that and think about ways to solve this context, this problem. And if you don't do this, if you just, like same thing here again, right? If how can I say that? Like if you don't go to the other people and tell them like the mistakes, right? If you avoid looking at mistakes and you're trying to be like more agreeable because it's more comfortable, because an argument could arise because of that, and that's obviously quite stressful for most people on earth, then if you don't look at the mistake, then it's not going to disappear, right? As soon as you see something that is holding your business, like stopping the growth of your business, you should be removing that immediately, and you should just be honest about that, right? And you need to be ruthless for some part, right? If you have a goal and there's something that's not getting you there, then you just need to remove that. So a good example for that is Charlie Morgan. You probably know Charlie Morgan from the agency space. He used to have like an Xbox, and like the Xbox, like when he was in Dubai, he used to play like on the Xbox for like a week or something, and then he was like, well, that's shit, I want to get to my goal, and then he just took the Xbox and throw that into the pool or something, and then it was broken. Obviously you might remove your Xbox in a different way, but like Charlie Morgan is a good example of just, I want to do this, well, then that has to piss off, right? So you just need to be like unkind and very disagreeable for some part, because nobody else is going to do that, right? You are the CEO, you are the person that's making the decisions in your company, and you have to look at every mistake that can happen. And yeah, that's by the way also why a lot of like CEOs and business owners are not as kind as other people maybe, or a lot more honest, because that like the real successful people, like billionaires, they got like everything, like their time and their like the vehicle that gets them to their goal, which is usually their business. They got everything, and they are very strict when something isn't working there, right? So now to give you a quick recap, when do people waste your time? So yeah, obviously like more time means more money, so you definitely want to save as much time as you can. Second thing, when do people waste your time? Communication. You talk too much to other people, so you can record looms. You can have things like little Trello boards where you can move things around. You can tell the people that communication is obviously distraction, and explain them that explain somebody that, I don't know if you say it. Anyway, you talk to them about that, and then you have like one time a day where you check your messages or something and reply to people, which could be as long as it needs to be. Like maybe that just takes you like 2 hours a day or something, or like 1 to 2 days of the week. If it needs to be, it needs to be, right? But at least it's not going to be like when you actually want to work on something. Next thing is when people are slow or dishonest. If they're just slow, then give them more time. But if they're dishonest, then start with an incentive structure. Incentive structure is, by the way, even going to help like the naturally slow people, just because they know if they're faster, they're going to get more. They're just going to be faster, right? So yeah, that's incentive structure is very, very important. You need to be careful with that still, like I said. Then have core values in your business, like honesty, like being on time, like focus, like not interrupting each other, like finding things out yourself. Communicate that with the other people, and move something in the time slot that just like was freed up, because you can't, like if you wanted to do this, but this doesn't work because somebody is like standing in the way and you can't do this right now, and you don't want this time to be wasted, just remove it and do like move something else into that time block, if that makes sense. Then staff quality, make sure that your staff is good. Pillars, make sure that you have like an abundance of certain like a certain role or a certain skill set in your business. And yeah, be consequent, right? Be disagreeable, because if you want to get somewhere, then you need to sacrifice stuff, because otherwise your goal is going to become the sacrifice. This was said by Sam Offenson, not by me, but I like this quote. So yeah, by the way, if you want to scale an agency, but at the end of each day you feel like you could have done 10 times more, there's a link in the description where you can check out how we can help you beyond these videos. Doesn't matter to me really if you click that or not. What matters to me is that your time is being saved. So I just wanted to leave that door open. And if you like this video and you want YouTube to recommend you more of these videos, then feel free to like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Thanks for watching to the end. This should save you a lot of time. Make sure you take the action, because if you do, you're going to make more money and you're going to destroy your competition. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.